I'd like to tell you two different stories that happened to me. Both happened in the same house. The first story was when I was younger. I grew up in northeast Iowa in a small farming community. I was 8 or maybe 10 years old at the time, which would have been in maybe the early 70s. My parents had gone out to dinner and maybe played cards with friends as they occasionally would do, and they left me home alone. My other older siblings had either moved out already or were busy doing something else, and so I was left by myself at home. Things were different back in those days. It was not such a odd thing to leave a child home alone, unattended maybe. Of course, I was 8 or 10, so that's not necessarily that young, but there was not that much concern about that in those days. I was watching TV. It had already gotten dark, and I was expected or told to be in bed by 10 p.m. During a quiet part in one of the TV programs, I thought I heard something, some voices that were not coming from the TV. I very quietly got out of the recliner chair that I had been sitting in and went over to the TV and slowly turned down the volume just slightly and listened. The stairway to the upper floor where the bedrooms were was on the opposite side of the wall where the TV was located. And the front of the stairs, or the foot of the stairs, was actually just around the corner from the TV. So it was at a good position to hear things from upstairs. I couldn't make out any words, but I heard two separate voices, one female and one male, talking to each other. They were both speaking in muted, hushed voices, as if they were purposely trying to be quiet. The tone of their voices was calm and conversational. I remember feeling that it seemed the female voice was reminding the male voice to do something, but again, I never heard any specific words. The voices stopped after just a few seconds. I was quite shaken. I spent the remaining evening with the TV volume low, listening carefully for anything else odd. I didn't hear anything more, though. When it was 10 p.m., the time where I was supposed to be going to bed, and my parents had instructed me to do so, but they didn't say anything about turning off all of the lights, which I had no intention of doing. I turned on every light in the main floor, then I made sure the stair lights was on. I quickly ran up the stairs and immediately turned on the bedroom lights for each bedroom. I was a combination of quite brave and really, really scared. I found nothing. No people talking, nothing out of place, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm sure I had to explain all of the lights being on in the house. When my parents got home, I probably told them that I was a little scared and just left them on, and they would probably have accepted that and understood that. I don't think I actually told them about my experience that night. What was it that I heard that evening? I don't know. Could it have just been the wind outside the window, or maybe just an old house making noise as it cooled for the evening? Maybe. But I have never heard anything like that before, and I never heard anything like that since. But did I really hear something? Yes, I did. I just don't know what it was. But it sounded like voices to me, and it sounded like they were upstairs. And that really creeped me out. The second story I have happened in the same house, but later when I was older. Maybe mid to late 20s. At that time, I was married to my first wife, and we were visiting the farm where I grew up in Iowa. The house still exists today in much the same layout as it had before. It has a basement, a main floor, and upstairs there were 3 bedrooms. In my opinion, the area of most unexplained activity in the house was the bedroom in the northwest corner of the house. More specifically, it was the closet in the northwest bedroom. Even when nothing was happening, that closet made me feel very uneasy. Just talking about it now gives me an uncomfortable feeling. When my ex and I were visiting, we were put up in the northwest bedroom to sleep while we were at the farm. We had our suitcases open with a few clothes hung over the back of a not so stylish 1970s style rocking chair, and that was placed in the corner next to the closet door. One of the days that we were there in the bedroom, we were discussing things and got into a fairly heated argument, as couples may sometimes do. I wouldn't say that we were yelling at each other, but we were certainly had raised voices and were quite angry with each other. We were near the bed when we were having our argument, and all of a sudden, the rocking chair across the room, in the corner, by the closet, broke in half. It broke in half. It didn't just wiggle or rock or move around. It literally broke into two pieces. Both my ex and I stared several seconds at that broken chair. I think we had forgotten what we were arguing about. What had happened? Why would a chair just break like that? Now, we did have some clothes draped over the back of it. Maybe the clothes were too heavy and it caused the back of the chair to break off. Can clothes really do that? Maybe? I don't know. Looking back at that event, I get the feeling that someone was telling us just to knock it off, to stop fighting. And if that's the case, then I can't say that it was a bad message. Over the years, multiple people have seen or heard or experienced strange things in that house. No one has ever said that they felt threatened or uncomfortable. Well, maybe uncomfortable, yes. But they didn't experience it as an evil or bad thing. I think I would like to persuade the others in my family who have had and seen those types of experiences to give their own stories. I think they're all interesting. I believe mine was. It was very moving, at least.